Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Mamata Balachandra. Our top story today is the fact that the DGCA has ordered SpiceJet to fly only 50% of its flights for 8 weeks by the aviation regulator after multiple snags. Now, the regulator said that during these 8 weeks, the airline would be subjected to enhanced surveillance. Now, the regulator also in its order has said increase in the number of departures beyond 50% would be subject to the airline demonstrating to the satisfaction of the DGCA that it has sufficient technical support and financial resource to safely and efficiently undertake such enhanced capacity. The regulator also said SpiceJet had failed to establish, and I quote, a safe, efficient and reliable air transport service, end quote. Now, to this, the SpiceJet airline has released a statement, and they've said, and I quote, "We want to reassure our passengers and travel partners that our flights will operate as per schedule in the coming days and weeks. There will be no flight cancellation as a consequence of this order," end quote. Meanwhile, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation Chief Arun Kumar has said that lockdowns and reduced flight operations due to the coronavirus pandemic could be the cause behind rising technical malfunctions in airlines in India. Now, the Indian Express reported that more than 460 technical malfunctions were reported by airlines in India in the past year. A trigger warning for people who are watching right now. The next story could be disturbing. It involves suicide. A class 12 boy died allegedly by suicide today in Tamil Nadu, and this is the fifth case of student death by suicide in the state in the last 2 weeks. Now, the boy was found dead at his home in Sivaganga district. The police have said that he left a suicide note in which he said that he couldn't cope with maths and biology. Now, 4 schoolgirls have died by suicide before this. 3 of them studied in class 12. Earlier, a class 11 girl was found dead in Sivakasi as well. No suicide note, however, was found. Now, the girl suffered from chronic severe stomach aches, according to the investigators. Just hours before the girl's death, another class 12 student was found dead in Cuddalore district. Now, the first of these deaths were reported on the 13th of July in Kallakurichi district. The student had alleged mental harassment by teachers. That, of course, sparked massive protest in the district. Now, yesterday, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has said, and I quote, "Under no circumstances must students have suicidal thoughts, turn trials into achievements," end quote. Moving on from the story now, the Supreme Court has upheld the Enforcement Directorate's power to arrest and seize properties under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, the bench passed the order on a batch of 241 petitions challenging the validity of various provisions of the law. In its order, the court also held that Section 45 of the Act was legal and not unreasonable. Now, the provision makes offences under the law cognizable and non-bailable. The judges also upheld Section 24 of the Act, which states the accused person has the burden to prove his innocence. Now, this is contrary to established criminal law principles of innocence until proven guilty. An update on COVID cases in India. India has reported 18,313 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours, but that's 23% higher than yesterday. Now, the active cases account for 0.34% of the total caseload, while the COVID recovery rate was recorded at 98.47%. A bulk of these cases are coming in from Maharashtra, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Also in the news, the Enforcement Directorate has filed a charge sheet against Delhi Minister Satyendar Jain and others in connection with the money laundering case. Now, the AAP leader was arrested by ED on the 30th of May under the PMLA. Now, the ED has alleged that there are 5 firms which are shell companies controlled by Satyendar Jain and his relatives. Meanwhile, in Karnataka, a Bharatiya Janata Party Yuva Morcha worker was hacked to death by unidentified people on a bike in Karnataka's Dakshina Kannada district on Tuesday evening. And this is according to a report by the News Minute, which says that this incident happened as he was closing his shop on Tuesday evening in Bellary village in Sulya Taluk of the district. According to NDTV, protests erupted in Karnataka's Dakshina Kannada district following the murder. Members of the BJP's youth wing in various parts of Karnataka also submitted mass resignations from the outfit, according to NDTV. However, Hindutva groups have called for a bandh in Puttur, Sulya and Kadaba taluks. Amid the calls for bandh, Section 144 of the CRPC has been imposed in Puttur taluk in Dakshina Kannada district on Wednesday and Thursday. Meanwhile, in Madhya Pradesh, a 16-year-old Dalit girl was allegedly stopped from attending school by a group of villagers in Shahjahanpur district. Now, in her complaint to the police, the girl alleged that on 23rd of July, some villagers snatched her school bag and told her not to attend classes. They also told her that other girls from the village will not be attending school. Now, a cross-complaint alleging assault was also registered against the Dalit girl's brother and 3 others. Now, in the meantime, District Collector Dinesh Jain has denied the charges that girls were being prevented from attending school in the village. Updates now from the Parliament. The Centre has told the Parliament that UP has reported the highest number of custodial deaths among all states and union territories in the last 2 years. In 2020-21, the Uttar Pradesh state recorded 451 custodial deaths, while the number rose to 501 in 2001-22. Bihar has reported 396 deaths in police custody. Madhya Pradesh has reported 364 deaths. Meanwhile, according to the Centre, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology ordered Twitter to block 2,851 URLs in 2021 and 1,122 till June this year under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act 2000. Now, to give you a bit of a context, Twitter has sued the Centre over the same issue, alleging the Centre has not provided valid reason for the same. The case is ongoing in the Karnataka High Court. Moving on from the story now, the Centre has informed the Rajya Sabha today that there is no data on the number of doctors who died due to COVID since the pandemic broke out in India in March 2020. A statement, however, contradicts the government's claims from February 2021 that 162 doctors, 107 nurses and 44 ASHA workers died because of the virus. The Indian Medical Association had refuted the Centre's data, claiming that the number was much higher, that 734 doctors died due to the disease during that period. Also, AAP MP Sanjay Singh has been suspended from Rajya Sabha for his unruly behaviour for the remaining part of the current week after he threw papers at the chair yesterday. Now, after the suspension, he tweeted, and I quote, "Modi ji may have suspended me, but will keep fighting, seeking answers for 55 deaths due to poisonous liquor in Gujarat," end quote. Now, 24 MPs, including 20 from Rajya Sabha, have been suspended so far. However, PTI has reported that the 20 suspended Rajya Sabha MPs will hold a relay protest for 50 hours in the Parliament complex. Moving on to business news right now. The International Monetary Fund has slashed India's economic growth forecast for 2022-23 to 7.4% from its April estimate of 8.2%. Now, the IMF has cited reasons like vulnerability of the Indian economy to external shocks and rapid monetary policy tightening for the same. However, for this financial year, India remained the second fastest growing economies across the world behind Saudi Arabia, which is likely to grow by 7.6% in 2022-23. The International Monetary Fund has also cut the global growth outlook to 3.2% from the estimated 3.6% in April amid fear of recession. Moving on, Jet Airways has announced that they have started hiring pilots, and the airline plans to resume its commercial operations in September. Now, this comes after Jet Airways' commercial operations were suspended on the 17th of April 2019 due to financial distress. Moving on to environment news right now. The Chhattisgarh Assembly yesterday unanimously passed a resolution urging the centre to cancel the allocation of all coal mining blocks in the Hasdeo forest. Now, according to a report in 2021, the forest was termed as the largest unfragmented forest in central India. However, the area has identified 18 coal mines. Now, Adivasis in the area have been protesting against mining activities in the region for the last decade. On to international news right now. It's day 154 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Gas prices have soared after Russia further cut gas supplies to Germany and other Central European countries after threatening earlier this week. Now, Russia has been cutting flows to the Nord Stream 1 pipeline to Germany, with it now operating at less than a fifth of its normal capacity. Now, Germany imports 55% of the gas from Russia, and most of it comes through Nord Stream 1, with the rest coming from land-based pipelines. Now, Russian energy firm Gazprom has sought to justify this latest cut by saying that it was needed to allow maintenance work on a turbine. Now, according to the BBC, the German government has said that there was no technical reason for it to limit the supply. In the meantime, Ukraine has accused Russia of waging a gas war against Europe and cutting supplies to inflict terror on people. And our positive news for the day, according to the New Indian Express, 10-year-old Avantika Chandran from Kerala has entered the India Book of Records and the Asia Book of Records for floating in Periyar river for 3.5 hours continuously. The depth was 30 feet. Now, according to her mother, the fact that she hadn't worn any safety gears made the task even more tougher. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Good night.